Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers, ambassadors, representatives of partner organizations, colleagues, and friends, good morning. We're gathered today to commemorate a defining milestone in the history of Egypt's water sector, the Golden Jubilee of the National Water Research Center. This is a moment of pride and reflection, marking 50 years since the establishment of this distinguished institution in 1979. Since its foundation, the National Water Research Center has stood at the heart of Egypt's effort to secure, manage, and sustain the most vital resource, water. For 5 decades, the center has provided science-based knowledge and innovation that shaped national policies, guided strategic projects, and strengthened the foundations of Egypt's water governance. Its contributions contribute to support the nation's pursuit of sustainable development and resilience in the face of growing environmental and climatic challenges. Today's celebration is not only a recognition of time past, it is a tribute to the people behind the progress, to the pioneers who laid the foundation, to the scientists, engineers, and researchers whose dedications advanced understanding and innovation, and to our partners, national, regional, and international, whose collaboration expanded the center's impact and strengthened its global presence. As we mark this golden milestone, we look with gratitude to the past and with determination to the future. We celebrate the achievement that shaped Egypt's water sector, and we reaffirm our shared commitment to advancing research, technology, and cooperation for a sustainable water future. On behalf of the National Water Research Center, it's my honor to welcome you all and to extend our sincere appreciation for joining us on this historic occasion, 50 years of science, innovation, and service to the nation. And now, we officially open our celebration. Please join me in welcoming Professor Sharif Al-Mohammadi, President of the National Water Research Center, to deliver his opening remarks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers, governors, ambassadors, president of universities, representatives of international and regional organizations, esteemed colleagues and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, standing before you today as president of the National Water Research Center, I must confess that I consider myself truly fortunate and deeply honored to deliver this speech at such a historic moment in the life of our institution, National Water Research Center. To witness the Golden Jubilee of NWRC, 50 years of scientific innovation, science, and dedication is both a privilege and a profound responsibility. Because this is not only a celebration of the past, but also a call to carry forward the legacy of those who built this great institution with vision and perseverance. 50 years ago, Egypt made a visionary decision to place science at the heart of water management, to transform knowledge into the nation's most reliable tool for safeguarding the Nile, our eternal source of life. From that decision, the National Water Research Center was born. From a modest beginning in the 1970s, With a few laboratories and a small group of dedicated scientists, NWRC has grown into a powerful research institutions. 12 specialized institutes supported by dozens of field stations that cover every aspect of the water cycle. Over 5 decades, the center has evolved into Egypt's scientific arm for water policy and planning. Our research has guided national strategies, shaped infrastructure, and improved the lives of millions. The fingerprint of NWRC can be found everywhere. The design of Egypt's barrages and regulators, in the protection of our coasts and deltas, in the management of groundwater and drainage, and in the optimization of irrigation across every governorate of our country. Each study, each experiment, each drop of data collected by our researchers has contributed to Egypt's water security and sustainable development. The story of NWRC is not only a national one. It is also a story of partnership and shared progress with our esteemed partners, European Union, UNESCO, EMI, Deltares, CMPARI, and the World Bank, and many others. NWRC has become a regional hub for water knowledge and innovation. We have trained thousands of African and Arab professionals, provided expertise to our neighboring countries, and carried Egypt's scientific leadership to international platform. These collaborations remind us that water knows no border, and that science, when shared, becomes a bridge for peace and progress. As we celebrate our 50th anniversary, NWRC stands not as an institution of the past, but as a center of excellence for the future. We are embracing the digital age, building data platforms and AI-driven models, digitizing our rivers and irrigation network, and transforming research into real impact, and also into real-time solutions for changing climate. We are investing in our youth, empowering the next generation of researchers and engineers who will carry this mission forward with passion, skill, and innovation. And we are ready to serve not only Egypt, but our region as a trusted scientific partner in building climate-resilient and sustainable water system. On this remarkable occasion, I pay tribute to the visionaries who founded the National Water Research Center, to its successive leaders, and to the generation of researchers who have built its legacy with dedication and sacrifice. I also extend my deepest appreciation to our national and international partners, whose trust and collaboration continue to strengthen our journey. Together, we have proven that science is the strongest foundation for sustainable water management, and that through partnership and innovation, we can secure the future of this vital resource. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, the National Water Research Center will continue to stand as it has for 50 years, as Egypt's house of water science, serving the nation, inspiring the region, and shaping a resilient water future for generations to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Sharif, for these inspiring words. And now it's my honor to welcome His Excellency, Professor Mahmoud Abu Zaid, the first president of the National Water Research Center, whose visionary leadership laid the foundation, structure, and mission of the center, to share the reflections of the early journey that shaped the National Water Research path towards excellence and international recognition.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellency, Professor Hanis Willem, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pride and joy and honor to stand before you today on this historic occasion, the celebration of the Golden Jubilee of the National Water Research Center, 50 years since establishment in 1975. This moment is not only a celebration of the past, but also a renewal of our shared commitment to science, innovation, and sustainable management, safeguarding of Egyptians' most precious resource, water. Since half a century ago, Egypt faced a very serious water challenge with a rapidly growing population, rising food demands, and an increasing need for infrastructure to secure our future. Since the signing of the 1959 Water Agreement, Egypt has lived with the reality of a fixed quota of 55.5 billion cubic meters per year from the Nile. At that time, our population was no more than 20 million people. And this quota, though always precious, was sufficient to meet the country's domestic agriculture and industrial needs. Yet, history does not stand still. Today, more than 102 million Egyptians depend on the very same 55.5 billion cubic meter. The challenge is stark. We are now attempting to provide food, water, and opportunities for 5 times the population with the same Nile freshwater resource. This pressing reality underlines why research and innovation are not a luxury, but a national necessity. To manage scarcity and improve efficiency, Egypt must continue to rely on its scientific institutions. It was in this very context that the seeds of a new idea began to grow. The origins of the National Water Research Center go back much further than 1975. In the 1960s, water research in Egypt was carried out in scattered research units known as tafatish, covering water use, groundwater, and drainage, but these units lacked a unified institutional framework. Researchers were classified under the 1960 law governing research staff in ministries, but this law offered no real progression beyond senior researchers with very modest additional incentives. Unlike university academicians, ministry researchers had no structured, accredited career path, no incentives for promotion, and no recognition equal to their contribution. For the same handful of postgraduates at the time, no more than a few dozen, this created frustration and yearningly for a new model. When I returned from the doctorate studies in the United States in 1962, together with a few colleagues, we shared a vision to create a national research center for water that would unify these scattered units, elevate researchers under a university-style academic system. It was within this context that the vision emerged for a dedicated research arm of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. The idea remained on the shelf for years until the late Minister, Dr. Abdulazim Abulata, asked me to prepare a draft decree to establish a water research center. with the support of the Prime Minister at that time, the Presidential Decree 1975 was issued to establish the Water Research Center, composed initially of 11 specialized institutions, and later on, the center established a strategic research unit, a central laboratory, plus other specialized units. I was privileged to be appointed at the National Water Research Center president in 1979, a position I had until 1997. Those early years were filled with both promise and difficulty. Building an institution from scratch required more than laboratories and decrees. It required vision, persistence, and above all, people. An academic training program was launched in 1978, supported by USAID, which enabled nearly 70 young researchers to obtain master's and doctorate degrees in the United States. Many of these scholars returned to become leaders in the ministry and its departments. From the outset, international cooperation played a decisive role. The Egyptian-Dutch Advisory Panel on Water Management was established in 1976. This was a unique model of long-term collaboration. Such cooperation could only flourish because Egypt had already laid the foundation through the National Water Research Center, which by then had grown into a true scientific powerhouse, supported by a large network of specialized research institutes. The center provided the structure, the expertise, and the human capital to translate cooperation into results. This integration of knowledge which became the largest cooperative drainage project in the world. Equally important was the On-Farm Water Management Project, EWAP, funded by USAID, which introduced the concept of on-farm management to Egypt for the first time. Implemented between 1981 and 1985, this 5-year project went far beyond modernizing irrigation practices. It created a new way of thinking about water at the field level. For the first time in Egypt, irrigation engineers, agricultural specialists, economists, social scientists, and researchers from different disciplines worked side by side in direct partnership with farmers to address water use and productivity on the ground. The lessons learned from EWAP laid the foundation for subsequent national programs of irrigation improvement, water users associations, and integrated farm water management, establishing the National Water Research Center as a hub for applied multidisciplinary water science in Egypt. The Nile River Protection Project, NAUCAM, 1993-1996, was a landmark to implemented under the leadership of the National Water Research Center, with significant support from the government of Canada. This collaboration played a crucial role in strengthening Egypt's capacity to monitor and protect the Nile River from pollution and degradation. Beyond technical achievements, the Canadian partnership initiated institutional cooperation, knowledge transfer, and sustainable environment stewardship. Over the decades, the contribution of the National Water Research Center have been both scientific and practical, shaping Egypt's water future in profound ways. These are but a few examples. Many more will be highlighted in details by Dr. Shadel. But beyond the infrastructure, I take greatest pride in seeing generations of National Water Research Center scientists contributing directly to Egypt's development, shaping national water policies, and representing Egypt abroad with distinction. Many of our young researchers went out on to become leaders in the ministry, universities, and international organizations, carrying forward the vision that began half a century ago. This is the true legacy of the National Water Research Center, building human capital. Today, we are celebrating 50 years. We remember when we are celebrating 50 years, we remember and honor the founders, pioneers, and successive leaders who carried the mission forward through times of challenge and opportunity. Their sacrifices and dedication built the foundation upon which we stand. Without their dedication and vision, we would not be here today celebrating the Golden Jubilee. But our focus must also turn to the future, to the youth of today, the young researchers, engineers, and scientists of the National Water Research Center. I say, you are the stewards of this legacy. The coming decades will bring immense challenges: climate change, population growth, transboundary complexities, and the quest for sustainable development. Yet, I have full confidence that with your creativity, passion, and persistence, the National Water Research Center will continue to shine as a beacon of excellence and innovation, not only for Egypt, but for the entire region and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of the National Water Research Center is the story of Egypt's resilience, vision, and determination, from humble researchers units to a globally recognized center of excellence. The National Water Research Center embodies the spirit of national commitment to science and sustainability to secure our water future. Let us move forward together, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and building with confidence the next 50 years of research, innovation, and cooperation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Professor Mahmoud, for sharing the long journey and vision of the foundation of the National Water Research Center. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Professor Shaidan Abdelgawad, one of the distinguished former presidents of the National Water Research Center, to highlight 5 decades of NWRC's achievement and enduring contributions to Egypt's water sector. The floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, my fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's really my pleasure to be here with you to present to you the achievements of the National Water Research Center for the last 50 years. As Dr. Abu Zaid mentioned, that National Water Research Center was established in 1975 to be the research arm of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation to directly support the development and management of Egypt's water resources. Currently, we have 12 research institutes and several supporting units that read like a list of development needs and challenges facing Egypt's water sector. The main mission of the center is to be internationally recognized as a leading research institution in water sciences, driving innovation, developing sustainable and practical solutions to address national and global water resources management challenges. And since its establishment, NWRC has been very active in different branches of water sciences and has put forth significant effort to disseminate its research findings as widely as possible. If you look at the structure of this center and its 12 research institutes, you'll find that each institute corresponds to one or more of the ministries, departments, or sectors. With such unique structure of the center, this actually can show you that research can influence and has an impact on the water policy in Egypt. Here, over the last 50 years, NWRC made an outstanding contribution to Egypt's water strategy, producing knowledge and innovation, enhancing the sustainability of water resources. So I have selected few topics, and not all of the topics that we cover within the center, but some of the research success that contributed to the planning, development, and management of water resources. Regarding the mass of research produced over the last 50 years, it's really hard, to cover it all in such a short time, but I will give you some snapshots about those research potential and let the photos accompanied with each slide, support my word. The first field, it's the Nile water development and protection. And as you know, the River Nile is the sole source of water for Egypt. So protecting and developing the Nile water, it's a must. So the Nile Research Institute started in the beginning to study the side effect of Aswan High Dam, and then along the years they made several research studies concerning the hydrologic and morphologic changes of Lake Nasser and the River Nile. They monitor the sediment transport in Lake Nasser and maintaining the operating rules of the high dam, rehabilitation and development and guidelines as well for river navigation channel, protection of river banks and islands, and also development of waterfronts. A second area, and it's one of the early studies that from the 70s, the on-farm water management and modern irrigation techniques. And along the years, we were able to develop guidelines for optimal on-farm water management and schemes and practices. Studies on soil-water crop interaction, testing different modern irrigation techniques for different soils, also introducing innovative irrigation systems like the Smart Irrigation One. We have also research on socioeconomic aspects of on-farm water policies. Our research is also extended to irrigation improvement through different alternatives, among them the lined or piped small canals, electrification of water pumps, and also we helped the ministry in the establishment and election of water user associations in different governorates. Another research potential is the subsurface drainage. In fact, after the construction of Aswan High Dam, Egypt has launched one of the largest drainage program in the world. And one of the successful achievement in this field was bringing together the Egyptian Public Authority for Drainage Project, EPAD, with the Drainage Research Institute working together. And this a true example of how the research can influence and can have an impact on implementation. Our pioneering research capacity included design criteria for subsurface drainage systems, installation, implementation, and maintenance of different methods, materials, and technologies of drainage system. Another research area, which is the water quality and combating water scarcity, calls for novel technologies of water quality monitoring and forecasting. Water quality was always at the top agenda of NWRC. So we started as early as the 70s with monitoring the water bodies, either the Nile or the drainage canal, and then by time we gained experiences, especially with the Dutch colleagues, they helped us in this, and then the Canadian also. Then in mid-90s, we were able to design and implement a national water quality monitoring program that covers all the water bodies of Egypt, starting from Lake Nasser and the River Nile to all the drains in the delta, and also extended to groundwater. Not only that we have a monitoring program, but we have developed a mathematical model that predicts what will happen in the future regarding the quantity and quality of water. The main function or objectives of the National Water Quality Monitoring Program is to provide the decision makers at this ministry with the water quality status, where we publish a yearbook including all the information about the quality. We also identify the short, medium, and long-term trends in water quality, especially in relation to water use policy. We advise also on water quality protection measures. Moving to groundwater, and groundwater is or plays a vital role in Egypt's water strategy. Activities include development and evaluation of groundwater potential of different aquifers, developing of hydrological maps in different scales, protection of antiquities, and also groundwater exploration and development for some of the mega projects, especially the project, the 1.5 million acre project. Rainwater harvesting, it's also one of the assets in terms of, we have shortage of water resources, so Egypt was opt to use non-conventional water resources, among them, as I mentioned before, the drainage water reuse, and rainwater harvesting. It's also another So we did major research studies especially in Sinai. We produced different atlases for different governorates to assist the decision makers to design the required protection measures. In terms of hydraulic design and modeling, various hydraulic studies for major barrages and regulators on the Nile were carried out using physical and mathematical models. We have also hydraulic studies were extended for coastal areas within Egypt and abroad, and also for thermal power plants and desalination stations. They asked me to go on very fast. We played a major role in mega projects like El Salam Canal Project or Toshka Project in terms of lining and embankment works, in terms of rehabilitation of open channels, in terms of dynamic testing of different bridges' behavior. Climate change, and this is a topic that has been added to the NWRC research agenda, and that's why in the mid-90s we established Environment and Climate Research Institute with a main mandate to analyze and assess climate change impacts on water and environment, and conduct studies to support environmental resilience and sustainable development. Several projects were conducted on these topics, as you can see, and with the collaboration with international and national organizations. Coastal zone management is another area of research where we have studies on design criteria and guidelines for cost-effective and environmental friendly shore protections, monitoring the impact of climate change and sea level rise on the coastal area. Channel maintenance and aquatic weed controls, and also we have developed more than 50 integrated systems for canal protections from sand encroachment, and then introducing the biological control programs using grass carp. Surveying and mapping also, it's another research area where we have several activities in this regard. Of course, we have several research facilities that support our activities and help our activities. Among them is the Central Laboratory for Environmental Quality Monitoring, and we're very proud that in 2005, CLICM became an internationally accredited facility. We have also a physical models lab at the Hydraulic Research Institute, soil and concrete testing lab, and so forth. We operate more than 26 research experimental fields strategically distributed across Egypt. We have the Central Library, the Regional Training Center at HRI, and also we have our Water Science Journal where it is published on annual basis. And the final word that a core activity throughout the life of NWRC was continuous cooperation with national, regional, and international institutions, organizations, and universities. So my final message that much has been achieved during the last 50 years, but still more research to be done to support Egypt's water sector and enhance its social stability by good water management. And thank you all for your listening.
50 years ago, in a land where every drop of water means life, a vision was born. A vision to place science, not chance, not guesswork, at the very heart of water management. A vision to create an institution that listens to the Nile, feels its heartbeat, and understands its language. An institution that would protect its flow for generations to come. From the dusty chalkboards of small classrooms, from fragile field notebooks filled with sketches and equations, from black and white photographs of young dreamers with bold ideas. The National Water Research Center began its journey. It was more than a building. It was more than a decree. It was the birth of a commitment, a promise to transform water science into a guardian of Egypt's future. This is our story. A story of knowledge built day by day. A story of resilience through challenge after challenge. A story of service, unbroken, unwavering, to a nation sustained by the Nile. 50 years ago, a turning point in Egypt's history and in its water future. Amid great national change, a bold decision was made to create a national center of science and innovation. The National Water Research Center was born not as an office or an agency, but as a living engine of research, innovation, and discovery. A place where engineers, hydrologists, planners, and visionaries would come together to test, to question, to imagine, and to create solutions for Egypt's tomorrow. With the founding of its first institutes, the landscape of decision-making was transformed. No longer guided by instinct alone, policy would now be irrigated by knowledge, strengthened by data, and sharpened by scientific truth. It was here that models of rivers came alive in laboratories, where equations turned into working designs, and where the seeds of future breakthroughs were planted. From its earliest days, the NWRC declared that research is not a luxury, but the foundation of resilience. That innovation is not a choice, but a necessity, and that the work of scientists would touch the lives of every citizen drawing life from the Nile. This was not just the creation of an institution, it was the birth of a new way of thinking, that the future of water would be secured not by chance, but by science, innovation, and vision. Through 5 decades, the National Water Research Center did not only grow in size, it grew in vision, in influence, and in the reach of its science. From one building to 12 specialized institutes, from a few labs to dozens of research stations spread across the country, from small beginnings to becoming Egypt's largest reservoir of water knowledge. Here, rivers were recreated in miniature, barrages tested before they touched the Nile, and equations turned into solutions for farmers in the Delta. Here, satellites began to speak to hydrologists. Remote sensing revealed secrets of water hidden from the eye, and new digital tools emerged to manage every drop with precision. From pioneering drainage solutions that protected the fertility of the Delta, to bold coastal defenses that stood as walls against the rising sea. From safeguarding groundwater in desert oases to guiding irrigation schedules across millions of acres, the mark of NWRC can be seen in every corner of Egypt. This is not growth measured in numbers alone. This is growth measured in trust, in resilience, and in lives improved. For behind every canal that flows more efficiently, behind every regulator that operates more reliably, behind every irrigation plan that feeds more mouths, there is a scientist, an engineer, a researcher, a team from NWRC quietly shaping Egypt's water future. The next 50 years will challenge us in ways never seen before. Climate change, rising seas, water scarcity, and growing demand. The challenges are urgent, the stakes are high. But NWRC does not fear the future. We are preparing for it. We are digitizing our rivers and canals, turning data into digital twins, and using artificial intelligence to predict and prevent crises before they occur. We are automating our monitoring systems, deploying sensors, satellites, and drones that never sleep to track every drop, every tide, every change in our water cycle. We are investing in youth, training the next generation of researchers, innovators, and leaders who will carry our mission far beyond 2030 into 2050 and beyond. We are creating future-ready solutions: smart irrigation that saves water for farmers, resilient coasts that defend our delta from rising seas, climate-smart policies that protect our children's future. NWRC is transforming into more than a research center. It is becoming a global center of excellence, a hub for climate resilience, for regional leadership, for innovation without borders. And as we honor the legacy of the past 50 years, we look ahead not with nostalgia, but with action, ambition, and resolve. For the future does not wait, and the future belongs to those who prepare. We are the National Water Research Center. We are the dreamers who dared to found an institution half a century ago. We are the leaders who guided its growth decade after decade. We are the scientists and engineers who turned ideas into solutions, and solutions into a stronger, safer Egypt. We honor our pioneers, those whose names and sacrifices will never fade. We empower our present, the men and women working every day in labs, in fields, in rivers. And we build for the future, preparing a new generation to carry this mission forward. Together, we are more than researchers. Together, we are guardians of the Nile. Together, we are Egypt's science in service of water, and water in service of life. This is our legacy. This is our promise. We are NWRC, 50 years of impact, and a future without limits.
Cooperation and partnership have always been at the heart of the progress. The challenges of water security, climate change, and sustainable development cannot be met in isolation. The demand shared vision, collective efforts, and the exchange of knowledge across borders and disciplines. Over the years, the NWRC has built strong bridges of collaboration with regional and international partners, founded on trust, mutual learning, and on a common goal of advancing water sustainability. As we reflect on the years of achievement, we are reminded that science thrives through cooperation, and that true progress knows no boundaries. It's now our honor to hear perspectives that embody this enduring spirit of partnership and innovation. Please welcome Professor Baggio Duterizli, Director of CWW, to present the legacy of cooperation between NWRC and CWW.
Good morning. It is my first time as a director. I just appointed 2 months ago, and to talk with this prestigious, event. Really, Excellencies, Minister of Water Resource Hani Sewillam, Minister Alan Farouk, the Minister of Education and Research Mohamed Daiman, Ashur, the President of National Research Center, the President of Arab Water Council, colleague and partner, and also my colleague like Rula and Daniela D'Agostino. Don't worry, it was not planned. It was planned to be 1 hour, but I will do in a few minutes, I will do this. Has been strategic, the relationship between CWW and the National Water Research Center? I suppose yes. We build really a long-standing partnership based on shared value and common vision for water resilience. we co-design solution, we co-produced knowledge, we co-invest in initiative. This will be able to the team, Siambari and National Water Research Center, to make advanced postgraduate education, to make piloting nature-based solution, and also was creating a regional policy dialogue. This kind of dialogue has been the one that make Italy in condition to candidate Italy for the next and the first Euro-Med Water Forum. This is thanks to the collaboration that exists with the all Egyptian institutions. It will be at the end of the 26th, and there are here also representatives of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and yesterday we had a nice talk to see what should be reported regionally to this event in Rome. But to be sure that I will stay in the 2-3 minutes, I would like also to say how many results has been done, but the result made by human resources that has been trained jointly is more than 335 masters has been made in Bari, and more than 130 are research done with Egyptian colleagues. This is the way how to work together. And then, of course, accompanying also technicians, more than 1,000 they pass through Bari as an Egyptian colleague, and we are proud for this. Now, just to conclude what we are looking to do for the future, we are try to scale some valid models in the national framework, then to embed nature-based infrastructure solution into territorial planning, and strengthening education and capacity building as a strategic level for resilience. These are results that we can continue developing together, Siambari and National Water Research Center. National Water Research Center is not just a partner, is a co-leader in shaping the future of water security across the Mediterranean and Africa. And as a Director Siambari, as a person that is leaving the Mediterranean region, I would like really to thank all the Egyptian institutions that trust in Siambari, to our expertise, and to share with us also future community commitment. We will build together to be more resilient and to be really innovative from this region to the remaining world. At the Mediterranean, as Mediterranean people, we are innovators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Paggio, for sharing our legacy together. And now, please welcome with me Professor Lars Trippi, the Faculty of Spatial Development and Infrastructure Systems, Cologne University, to present his presentation on how partnerships can inspire innovation solutions.
Good morning. Thank you very much for this honor. Your Excellency, Hani Swalem, Excellencies, distinguished representatives and ambassadors of national institutions and international institutions. First of all, Professor Sharif Al-Muhammadi, congratulations, warm congratulations for your achievements and for you representing this wonderful organization. It is the center for research of the key sector, you can say, in this wonderful country. And if I say wonderful country and the sector, we all as children have learned about Egypt, of course, no? As also our origin. No? We are considering the Egyptian civilization as the early beginning of what follows after that. And the achievements, of course, as me as a child also marveled me, and I could not have imagined that when I'm grown up, not sure if I'm grown up, but I would be, let's say, looking back to a long cooperation with this wonderful country. And it is these hydraulic civilizations, not only here, Euphrates, Tigris, also Yellow River, Indus River, and even in the Americas, that were always connected to water for good reason, because water security and food security are the very foundation for all of us. But not only this past is what is so marvelous, but also your achievements. And looking back 50 years, 50 years ago, you were less than 40 million inhabitants in this country. Now you are reaching 120. So you added a whole Germany to this country with a need to supply it with infrastructure, with food, and with water. And what you have achieved is really astonishing. No? The Hayaswan Dam was earlier than that, but in the meantime, you have projects like Toshka, you had projects like Al-Hammam, Bahar Bakar treatment plants. Now the new Delta project, it's another marvel where you show the world how a nation can cope with water scarcity. So for that, innovation is necessary, and this is exactly the role where you are. And I don't know if I have no time, so I skip, I think, the presentation. But what I would like to say, innovation, at least because it's the theme of this conference and it's the theme of your center. And just to remind us that we have a certain model in mind, the model is linear, no? And this is something that is still valid. No? We do basic research, applied research, then we bring it into the market. This is the model we have followed. It is a successful model. And I think it will continue to be. But the challenges that you also frame in your current water resources strategy are complex, like in any other country in the world, and I think particularly here. So we need another model of innovation, and this is systemic innovation. So systemic innovation needs the coordination of different sectors. It needs a close cooperation, and it is always place-specific. So we need, first of all, cooperation, and this is the theme of our cooperation. Our cooperation means between our academic institutions in Germany and also your institutions. And this is necessary to achieve the big transformations, first of all, the digital transformation, but also coping with climate change and all the other big transformations we are and you are trying to achieve. So this is something I was tasked with in the last 6 years when I was the founding dean of a new faculty that was asked by the government to build support from academic point of view to establish a new way of university-society interaction. And this is also, let's say, something that concludes with different learnings. What do we need to make this kind of innovation possible? And it also led to the design of a project we are now executing here. And I'm very proud that the National Water Research Center is our partner in iWater. I remember last year in the inauguration of the project here, you gave a wonderful speech highlighting your new vision of the National Water Research Center, which completely fits to our endeavor, the iWater, which now already designed 2 master programs on integrated water resources management at Ain Shams. We have the first students. We built really a connection in the teaching with the practice. We have interdisciplinary students working on challenges. We are emphasizing the digital transformation and offer various interfaces, not only, of course, for the teaching part, but for the research part, so that what we call the transdisciplinarity can thrive. And of course, we want to build bridges and strengthen the bridge between Germany and Egypt. I think this is valuable in a time where others are starting to build walls instead of bridges, so becoming more nationalistic, more isolated. So we have to work against that with an open mind and with, let's say, the achievements that we have done to continue it in the future. And with that, I want to say the best is yet to come in our cooperation, and I'm very proud to be your partner. and to partner with, hopefully, many more in the future. Thank you very much.
Now, it's my honor to welcome His Excellency, Professor Hani Swalem, Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, a global leader and a national visionary in advancing sustainable water management. Under His Excellency, the Ministry has championed innovation as a cornerstone of modernizing Egypt's water system, integrating science, technology, and policy to build a more resilient and efficient future. His Excellency will now present an insightful address on innovation in managing the systems, Irrigation 2.0, highlighting the Ministry major initiatives and transformative efforts across this vital sector. Dr. Hani, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for the previous speakers, and thanks, of course, for Dr. Sharif for organizing this wonderful session, and distinguished speakers who I have learned a lot from them. Dr. Abu Zaid, Dr. Shadin, and all the others were really they were our tutor. They were guiding us to show us the way how the National Water Research Center works and how it can continue. And after 27 years outside Egypt in Germany, I came to be the minister and to see them again, and still we are learning from them. So we appreciate having them here. We appreciate the celebration of 50 years of National Water Research Center. And I'm going to give just an overview, a kind of reflection of how this reflected on the ministry's activities, the accumulated experience, what we learned from them, what we learned from others, but also what we are doing together in terms of achievements on the ground, translating research into practice. I just would like to start with this graph. I just took the last 15 years of how the population in Egypt is growing. As you can see here, we are about increasing, this is the net population increase, so the birth minus the death. So we are about 1.5 million inhabitant increase every year, which means that if you give these people the water poverty line, 1,000 cubic meter per person, then you need 1.5 billion cubic meters of water every year. Impossible for any country to achieve. And if you give them 50% of the water poverty line, the same like what we are using right now, then you need 0.75, or let me say 0.5 billion cubic meter of water to be pumped and added to the water in the system in Egypt, which is too hard, because just for the people who are not water specialists, all the desalination plants that we established in Egypt in the entire history is providing Egypt with 0.5 billion cubic meter. So what you need is this quantity at least every year to be pumped in the system. So there's no way to achieve this. That's why you will realize that the water share per capita in the 60s was 2,000. And today we are speaking about 500 cubic meter per person per year, which means that the population increase has impacted the share of each of us. And we dropped below the water poverty line. We have only 50% of the water poverty line. And the challenge of the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation is to find the water to fill the gap. The gap is the green color that you see here, and the gap is increasing every year. So this is the challenge, the main challenge that we are facing in the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. So it means business as usual is not an option, because business as usual means that you have to add 1 billion cubic meter of water every year, or 0.5 billion cubic meter of water every day into the Egyptian system, which is not possible. Business as usual is not a possibility. The need to add resources by recycling, more desalination, water treatment, And also here you have other challenges, smaller, but still they are challenges. The decrease of number of engineers. We have only 3,000 engineers in our ministry. So how you are going to manage this huge system with only 3,000? Yes, we have 55,000 employees, but the leaders are the ones to guide are the engineers. So that's why we had to move to a different generation, different way of thinking on how we are going to deal with our water resources. We have to add more and more water treatment. We have to recycle more water. We have to desalinate more water. Yes, desalination in the Ministry of Water Resources is going to be an option in the future. And it's not only for drinking. Maybe in 5, 6, 7 years, desalination will be used for crop production. So that's one of the options and one of the trends. The good news is that we established a new department, new sector, قطاع جديد في وزارة الري, that's called Sector of Non-Conventional Water Resources, that adds everything that's new to the ministry. Digital transformation and smart management are not luxury. We have to. We have no other option. Resilient infrastructure to face the climate change and to adapt to climate change. Adaptation and mitigation. Governance and fighting corruption is a big issue. Restoring river plain, and I'm going to come to this later on. Human resources development, for me and for our team and for the leaders of the ministry, human resources is the core of all what I'm saying. Training the engineers, increasing their salaries, and I think we have been successful to increase the salaries in average to double the salaries from X to 2X. And we are planning by the end of next year to reach 3X. So we tripled the income of our employees in the last 3 years. Or with the coming year, it's going to be 3 times the salary of the previous 3 years. So awareness of the public, of everyone in the country, and then the global role and the regional role that we play. So these are the 10 pillars that we are moving since I started in the ministry with the team, with the support of everyone, and most of them are present here. I'm not going to explain the details of all of this. I just selected something related to the topic of today, innovation, smart management. And let me start by outside Egypt. This is the River Nile, and we just would like to start here outside the boundaries or the borders, because our water is originated to 98% of this renewable water resources coming to us are from outside our borders. So we have to study exactly what's happening here. So we have the rainfall runoff models. We have upgraded our models over the last couple of years. So now we have a very accurate modeling approaches in terms to calculate what is coming to us, when it's coming, and what is the quantity of water that comes to High Aswan Dam. But of course, we are facing challenges. We are facing the challenge of unilateralism. So it's not a natural approach anymore, because there are somebody who is now working on the river basin, especially in the Blue Nile. As you can see here, just one example of what happened 2 weeks ago. This is the flow of the Blue Nile, and this is the release from the Ethiopian dam. And what happened before the inauguration of the dam, that they stopped the water from being flown. As you can see here, the curve dropped dramatically so that they can fill the reservoir quickly. Normally, you fill the reservoir from July to end of October if you are just considering engineering approach or scientific approach. But if you're just thinking about the inauguration and getting the show in the media, then the approach was a bit different. So we were surprised because we are observing all the actions happening here. So the dam was filled very quickly till the inauguration day, and then they started to show this. These are the emergency exit of the dams, that they should work only in the emergency cases. They were just flowing the water here, overtopping here, and water flowing from the spillway. So they took the pictures, because without this, it's just concrete. You don't see any water. So they took the picture, and then immediately after the show, they released huge amounts of water. And you can see here the jump after the inauguration, 9th, 8th, and 9th of September, then 10th, 12, 13, 14, to reach 776 million cubic meter per day, a number that never happened in the history at end of September, beginning of October. And that's why the damage in Sudan was huge. The water came in Sudan in an unexpected time. The water came in Sudan after the people started planting their crops, which you normally do after the wave of a flood. But now, this is not a natural flood, this is an artificial flood. So, what we do here, because there is no agreement, unfortunately, there is no binding agreement, we observe using the satellite and start preparing ourselves for the flood and for the releases based on our observations. So the water reaches High Aswan Dam, and then we start. High Aswan Dam is almost 55 to 60 years old, and it needs upgrade. That's why we use the modern technologies to upgrade the dam every now and then. So these are the observations we do. This is a surveying automatic vertical and horizontal displacement measurements, 3D scanners. Every tunnel has also such a scanner to get exactly what's happening and any movement or any settlement or anything that happens, but everything is under control. We always upgrade the machines used. And then the water goes from High Aswan Dam to the river. What happened in the river? We have, of course, other challenges. We have a very old constructions in the river that need upgrade from time to time. This is a 150 years old Dairut barrage that you can see here in the picture. Of course, we don't remove them. We just keep them as a heritage, but we build the new ones next to them. So you see one here. This is the main one, but you see also one over there. This is another one, if you see it here. And there is another one here. There are 7 different components in Dairut that they serve 1.6 million acres in the area, so it's a huge structure. And that's why we had to build the new ones, and you see the old one, and we keep it as a heritage, but we build the new one afterwards. So you can see here, this is the opening of the first component, and in April 2026, the entire project will be totally completed. So this is one of the tasks you do, but these pictures, I'm sure you have seen them in the media recently. وبعدين سمعتوا الوزير بيتشتم والناس القيادات الوزارة وهي بتتشتم, so the people were against everything. And I just want to explain this story because the people saying, "Are you stupid? You don't know how to manage the dam. You have the exit and you have the emergency exit. Why you flood the people in the flood plain?" So let me explain this a little bit. Why this picture happened? I think this guy was in 20, 40 interviews on the TV, and everyone was just recording this in the media. Of course, there is a unilateralism dimension in the story. When you get such a quantity of water in a month that you do not expect in October, you have to release water to have the buffer to receive the big wave. And luckily enough, we have 12 to 14 days to prepare ourselves. It's not much, but at least you have time. For Sudan, they have only a couple of hours to react because they are very close to the Ethiopian dam. So what we try to do, because we have works, serious work happening in our emergency exit, Mafit Toshka, and that's why we had to release amount of water in a safe margin, because this was normal, because this is happening almost every couple of years, this picture, but there is a big focus on the media because unilateralism is there, bringing water on an unexpected time. At the same time, this is happening during this duration. So what happened? The people, of course, they are constructing their houses inside the floodplain, as you can see here. This is, I think it's clear here that you can see people building directly inside the floodplain. And when you see here, this is a drone. This is from 9th of October, so a couple of days back. So it's a very new one. Look at this. This is the road in the Nozetta branch. ده طريق بعرض فرع رشيد. So you can imagine how the water can flow. This is an obstruction for the water to flow in the Rosetta branch. This is the parallel one to Rosetta. This is one of the exits in this area. And if you go further, you will see here, you see these small houses? This is crossing the water, and you can see here, you see small houses here? You see these small houses? You see this one? So these are the houses that they must be submerged by water. There is no other way. You are building house inside the river. So what do you expect? So we cannot always speak about other issues. We have to face the reality in order to be able to correct it. And that's exactly what we are doing in the ministry. So we can see we are scanning all the floodplain from Aswan to the north, to the Mediterranean Sea, to identify exactly what exists, X, Y, Z. So each single point is scanned here using the drones, as you can see. And then, based on that, we identify the floodplain. We go back 60, 70 years and identify our floodplain. The yellow colors that you can see here, this is the floodplain. This is belonging to the river. This is not belonging to the people to build their houses. And then we release water in our simulation models to see how the water is going to move here. So you see the red color, these are the areas that we know today that they are going to be submerged by water, at which quantity of water release. So Rashid, that was supposed to release 220 million cubic meter per day, you know how much you can release today? 30 million cubic meter. After 30, you will still have the water going into floodplain and flooding some houses, some agriculture areas. This has to change. There is no other way. The people, with all my due respect to the families, to the poor families, there should be another solution. The people cannot stay in the floodplain. We have to change this. We kept it for 50, 60 years, but it is the time to face the reality and to move people from the floodplain outside. So, and that's why, to avoid new houses or new violation of the regulations that happen in the future, we use this. التغيرات المكانية is already implemented, and we are just updating the softwares, and we are going to use it. Which means that anyone is going to put any stone inside the identified floodplain, we will get the alarm immediately, and next day they have to be removed. Because the problem is, once the people, they complete their houses and they are in, no one can remove them. There's no way. There are kids, there are house, there are stove, there are everything inside, and you cannot remove them out. That's why we say we have to know very quickly and to react and to respond to this by taking action and removing everything that will be installed or constructed inside the floodplain. So this is the approach we are following. We are very serious about it, and we have taken very important steps so far. Hyacinth and aquatic weeds is one of the challenges that's facing the River Nile. As you can see here, the losses of the aquatic weeds could be double the normal losses without aquatic weeds and hyacinths. So that's why this is also a research from the National Water Research Center. That's why we're using satellite images. The pink color here, these are the hyacinths that you can observe and you can control, and you can see the progress. 13th of August, 23rd of August, 4th of October, and you see the progress. So we can control the contractors. This is a source of corruption, just to say it very straightforward. But using satellite images, we observe it, there will be no corruption anymore. No one can do it. Any contractor has to follow our rules and has to implement it, and because we are seeing it, we observe it. We know exactly what's happening in the river. And also here, you can see our work. This was done kind of like a month ago, and you can see Rashid and Rosetta branch was really very deteriorated, but now I think it's in a very good shape. This was not planned to record it by drones. It came to an instruction to us. You want to know how Rosetta branch looks like, and this is how it looks like a month ago. It looks very nice, and I think it's very clean for us, and the water can flow in a better shape. So canals and drains level, this is the next level of our water system. We also started digitizing everything. So this is our engineers who are doing this to scan the canals. All the canals will be scanned this way. And you can see here, you have X, Y, Z for each component in your system, and you know what's going on. So you can discover here, there is a violation, there is a sewage water pipeline that you might not discover if you just walk on the canal, but you can see it using the drone. Here you can see aquatic weeds that also could be controlled. You give instructions to the engineers to go to this place and remove the aquatic weeds. And any violation you can observe here. Our water constructions, we have 56,000 hydraulic structures in the country. So we have to digitalize to deal with them in a more smart way and in an efficient way. So you can see here, we are also using the drones to scan them, to identify if there is any crack, if there is any problem in this construction, as you can see here. But this images, it's not about video. We are not speaking about video. We are speaking about sensors that can be used for different applications, and treating such pictures using different softwares to identify if you have any crack or you have to respond to that. This is also 3D picture made by drone to identify the X and Y and Z. You can get cross-section immediately. These processes that you do it with mouse click, it took normally in the past days, maybe weeks to do it. But now with just some mouse clicks, you can get cross-section in any construction, you can get cross-section in any canal. So we are now having the digitalized system. We are working using the drone on getting the X and Y and Z for each point in the canal. We already established the database for our water structures. With each water structure in the country has a code. Before that, we didn't know even their number, but now you know the code, where it's located, what is the number of the construction, etc. These are the 56,000 structures. We have identified the ones who are critical and dangerous, and we already have a big national project, 10 billion Egyptian pounds, for upgrading the critical ones and the dangerous one. And this is a picture of today. This is a real picture of how they look like after upgrading. Of course, we did not finish yet, but we are working because this is a quite big project, as I said, 10 billion Egyptian pounds to be implemented, upgrading the gates, upgrading the water structures, etc. So also canal is not an exception. They have the same problem of aquatic weeds and hyacinth like the Nile, but now we have, as I said, satellite images. This is I think this is a Suez Canal, Suez irrigation canal, that's Suez. And you can see here that you can identify aquatic weeds and you can identify hyacinth as well. Because the blue color is here, you can see there, it is the same what you see in the ground truthing or the calibration of what we are doing. And it works very well. Of course, we are at the beginning, start now to disseminate it to different sectors in our ministry, but it works. This database is also working, and we know exactly who are the contracting companies working with us in the hyacinths or cleaning or clearing or tathir al-tara. We know them, and our engineers, they know how we are using it. We can even ban some contractors. If the performance of their performance is not as expected, we ban them. This is a bad contractor. 1, 2, 3 times, then he's not going to work with us anymore. So with this approach, we can really monitor, but we also give our incentives in the ministry based on such evaluation. So these are just assessment that we get from the database. What is the percentage of good, bad, and excellent cross-sections or canals and rivers? This is hopefully what we should be seeing now in our canals. It's not optimum in all the cases, but we are working to reach an optimum. The hyacinths, when we get such a plants at the end, is a huge biomass. We are using them. If you go in front of this door, you find some products. We are teaching the women and training them how to use such plants for producing something that's useful and bring them some income. And these are the products that we get out of this green biomass. that you can see outside in front of the door in the exhibition outside. So I have to be quicker. The IMAP is an application for our engineers that's going to collect all the applications in the mist. So there is only one axis that you can access all these applications. Hopefully, we are going to finish the 27 different applications for the canals, drains, infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to skip a little bit. When I started 3 years ago, I was told, and I think my colleagues, they know the story, that the MESCA, which is the latest level of the small tributaries that deliver the water to the farmer, is not belonging to the ministry, and it's belonging to the Ministry of Agriculture, and His Excellency is present here. So I said yes, but we bring the water from High Aswan Dam, we observe the water from the Nile Basin countries, we keep it, we clean it, we spend billions of pounds in order to clean the river and the canals, and then there is a block here. So the water is not reaching the farmer, and the farmer at the end is saying, I don't have water. And if he doesn't have water, then it's the Ministry of Water Resources, not the Ministry of Agriculture, and not the farmer himself, because he is the one responsible for cleaning this MESCA or this latest tributary. And that's why there had to be here shift in our way of thinking. This is our responsibility to make sure that this is also clean. Otherwise, the water is not going to reach the farmer. So these are some of the MESCAs. When they are deteriorated in condition, there's no water can flow to the farmer here. And then you're bringing the water from Aswan to the latest small village in Sharqiya, but the farmer is not able to irrigate. So we have to work on this. And we started a very nice project with His Excellency, the Minister of Agriculture, 7 governorates, and we have formulated all the water user associations in these areas. There are 6,500 water user associations, so we have one person responsible for each MESCA. We are digitalizing them. We have 44 teams from both ministries working together. We are now working on scanning and digitizing 20,000 kilometers, and we are also working very closely with the water user associations, and you can see here, this is the reality now. We scanned almost all of them. We know who is responsible for what. We follow up with them daily, and I have to say, 65% of the MESCAs are now in a very good condition compared to 3 years ago. There are some issues nationwide, like using the satellite image to identify the cropping pattern, because we don't have a cropping pattern in the country. It's a free, and if a Minister of Agriculture will tell you, we leave the farmer free, it's a market issue, so based on the market, he grows whatever he wants, but it's a challenge for us. That's why we have to identify the cropping pattern using satellite image to know where is the rise, where do you want more water, where do you want less water, and start directing the water in the direction based on satellite images. One of the dreams of our seniors, of our people who really taught us, is to move in managing water resources in Egypt from the level to the discharge. And this is one of the main challenges that we have. But moving to discharge is a very costly process. To take measurement in any cross-section, you need to have the boat, you need the current meter, and you go and you measure. And it's going to be very difficult to have thousands and thousands of points at the Nile River and also the canals to measure the flow at every single point. So we have to move to another technology. Here we are using the cameras. This is from Ismailia Canal. We fix the cameras and we measure the flow every couple of minutes, every couple of seconds, whatever you need, and the flow is measured based on cross-sections, and it's automatically, and it sends to the platform or sent to your mobile or sent to a platform, and then you start analyzing them. Testing this and implementing it nationwide is going to enable us to move from management by the water level to management by the volumetric approach or by discharge. And the National Water Research Center is also part of this, helping us in upgrading the rating curves, at least at the River Nile. And we have this platform that collects all the water levels and all the discharge that will be used in the future. So to summarize, 27 applications already exist and used, and the license. Today, you can apply for the groundwater license if you want to have a well online. Very soon, you will be applying for license for the compounds that are to be constructed on the North Coast, also online. But the groundwater wells are working and functioning until yesterday. It's very reliable and is accelerating the process. The coastal zone management, I think this is also a project that the National Water Research Center is involved with us. We have identified 6 measuring stations to monitor the sea level rise. We have also here observation wells to observe the interface between the seawater and the groundwater. We're using digital platforms to identify the erosion and sedimentation in the North Coast, and you can see here, this was a huge highlight for us because we have seen there is a lot of sediments are leaving this part, and when we went there, we found a high-pressure natural gas pipeline, and then we react. So it takes a couple of hours to reach this and to observe it from the office, from the headquarters, or from any governorate that belongs to our ministry. I appreciate the effort of the National Water Research Center. I thank all the leaders of the ministry, the headquarters, and all the governorates from Aswan to Alexandria, from Matruh to Sinai. Everyone is working hard, and we really cooperating in a very good team. I thank you for the last 3 years. I really appreciate very much. I learned a lot from you, but I think, as you said, we still have 50 years to go, and advancement and new research and new application and harmony between the National Water Research Center and the Ministry of Water Resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency, Professor Hani Swalem, for this inspiring presentation on the Ministry's looking forward vision. And now, please allow me to start this important section of today. We're now celebrating with a high-level panel discussion, bringing together Egypt's leading policymakers and experts to explore how research can effectively inform decision-making and guide national strategies to the sustainable water future. Please welcome His Excellency, Mr. Ala Farouk, the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reclamation, to the stage. And please welcome with me the moderator of this panel, Professor Safwat Abdeldaim, the professor at the National Water Research Center and the former Secretary General of the Cabinet of the Ministers, to share with us how water future and bridges of science and decision-making can achieve sustainable water security.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي السادة الوزراء، السيدات والسادة الحضور، الزميلات والزملاء الأعزاء. إنه لشرف كبير أن أدير هذا الحوار بين وزيرين يقودان وزارتان من أكبر الوزارات في مصر، والمسؤولين على قطاعين من أهم القطاعات التي لها تأثير على الاقتصاد والحياة الاجتماعية والبيئة والتنمية في مصر. 50 عاماً مضت على إنشاء المركز. قدر الله لي أن أشرف بأن أكون أحد شهودها وبين من عايشوها. شهدت زخماً من العمل الدؤوب ترجم على أرض الواقع المقولة الشهيرة أن البحث العلمي هو قاطرة التنمية. وشهد تلاحماً بين الباحثين من أبناء المركز مع زملائهم التنفيذيين من أبناء الوزارة، وزارة الموارد المائية والري، لتحقيق هدف أن يكون المركز حقاً الذراع البحثي للوزارة والسند العلمي لحل مشاكلها، واضعاً مستحدثات العلم ومستجدات الابتكار في خدمة الخطط التنفيذية لتأمين مصر مائياً وتوفير موارد المياه المستدامة لكل قطاعات الدولة وشعبها العظيم. معالي الوزراء، اسمحوا لي في هذا اللقاء أن ننتقل بالحوار إلى مستوى الصعيد الوطني لنستشرق معاً دور المؤسسات البحثية في دعم صناع القرار ليصبح هذا الدور أكثر فعالية وتأثير في مواجهة تحديات المياه والغذاء والمناخ والبيئة في مصر. تلك التحديات التي اجتمعت في مواجهة إصرار الدولة على تحقيق التنمية المستدامة وصولاً إلى مستقبل أفضل لأجياله الحاضرة والقادمة. لذلك فهي تتطلب تعاوناً حكومياً عابراً للوزارات قائماً على البحث العلمي المنظم. في جلستنا هذه سيتم تقسيم النقاش على محورين رئيسيين في صورة أسئلة موجهة لمعالي الوزراء. المحور الأول يتناول المرونة والبحث الاستباقي والتوافق الحكومي بحثاً عن كيفية صياغة وتحديد الأجندة البحثية الوطنية لخدمة القرارات المعقدة والحرجة كما شاهدنا في العرض اللي قدمه معالي الوزير، التي تتطلب توافقاً على مستوى الدولة. والمحور الثاني يتناول التطبيق والتمويل والتحول على أرض الواقع من خلال البحث عن كيفية تطبيق الابتكارات البحثية وتمويلها وتحويلها إلى مشاريع إنمائية مستدامة بالتعاون مع جهات التنفيذ. ويسمح لي معالي الوزراء أن أقترح أن ينطلق الحوار من حاجتنا إلى تبني مبدأ التعاون المرن والاستباقية بين البحث العلمي وصناع القرار في معالجة القضايا. وقضية المياه تأتي بشكل خاص في المقدمة، كون المياه المطلب الأول للوجود واستمرار الحياة. وفي معالجة السؤال الأول اسمحوا لي أن أبدأ بدعوة معالي الوزير هاني سويلم ليطرح علينا إجابة لسؤال قد نتساءله جميعاً، يقول أنه في ظل تزايد ترابط قضايا المياه والطاقة والزراعة، كيف يكون لمؤسسات الدولة أن تطور آلية وطنية سريعة وفعالة لترجمة المخرجات البحثية إلى قرارات تنفيذية متكاملة ومتفق عليها بين مختلف القطاعات بما يضمن سرعة الاستجابة وتنسيق الجهود على المستوى الوطني. مع التكرم أن تتناول سيادتك كيفية صياغة وتحديد الأجندة البحثية الوطنية لخدمة القرارات المعقدة، كما أن سيادتك قد تطرح علينا رؤيتك الخاصة ولا تتقيد بقالب السؤال حتى تكون الرؤية واصلة كما تراها كوزيراً للموارد المائية والري. فلتتفضل سيادتك.
شكراً أستاذنا الدكتور صفوت عبد الدايم. يعني حضرتك من الأساتذة اللي تعلمنا منهم كتير الحقيقة، وإن ما كانش بشكل مباشر فهو كمان من خلال كتابات حضرتك وأبحاثك وعلمك. ويمكن أنا في أول أسابيع أنا جيت فيها الوزارة أنا يمكن طلبت إن أنا أتشرف بمقابلة سيادتك، وقعدنا نعمل برين ستورمينج على بعض الموضوعات بشكل علمي، وهل تطبيقها هو صحيح أو خطأ. وهو ده الأسلوب الحقيقة اللي احنا بنتبعه في كل الشغل. أنا أعني لما بقول كل الشغل مفيش حاجة بيحكمنا فيها الأمور السياسية فقط، ولكن الأمور العلمية أولاً ثم التهيئة السياسية. وأعتقد أن الزملاء في المركز القومي لبحوث المياه يعلموا ذلك، لأن أعتقد هم عندهم فترة فيها كم من الشغل والطلبات من الوزارة بشكل غير طبيعي، وخلينا أقول يعني معظمها أو جزء كبير منها ما بنغطيش التكلفة بتاعته. فأنا بشكر جميع الباحثين في المركز القومي لبحوث المياه إن هم استحملونا في ال3 سنين اللي فاتت، وإن احنا مستعجلين دايما وعايزين، ولكن كل ما يتم تطبيقه داخل وزارة الموارد المائية والري بيتم دراسته علميا. والحقيقة أنا سعيد جدا بوجود معالي وزير الزراعة أستاذ علاء فاروق، وصديقي ومعالي وزير محافظ القليوبية وجودهم معايا الحقيقة، لأن هم اتنين من الداعمين واللي بيتفهموا تماما الأمور لازم تمشي بشكل علمي. خلينا هقول مثال واحد من اللي حصل في الاعتماد والرجوع. لما جينا قلنا هل احنا المفروض نتحول في الدلتا والوادي كلها لري حديث؟ هل المفروض نحول الدلتا كلها لري بالتنقيط؟ ده سؤال. لا، ده كان مشروع مش سؤال. فهل ده صح؟ طب خلينا اقول حاجة كده بسيطة بدون بقى بحث علمي وبدون ما نقرا بيبرز او غيره. هي المية اللي راحة محطة بحر البقر والمحسمة والدلتا الجديدة اللي هم 1 مليون متر مكعب في اليوم و5.6 مليون و7.5 مليون، لما نجمعهم على بعض يطلعوا 4.8 مليار متر مكعب في السنة. هي المية دي جاية منين؟ المية دي جاية من الصرف المغطى لأراضي الدلتا بكميات محددة بجودة تتناسب مع كمية السماد اللي انت بتحطه وملوحة التربة وأساتذة الصرف عارفين ده أكتر مني، والأستاذ الدكتور صفوت عبد الدايم عارف ده أكتر مني 100 مرة. طيب احنا النهاردة لما نيجي نتحول في الدلتا كلها إلى ري بالتنقيط، فين مية الصرف اللي هتروح المحطات اللي أنفقنا عليهم مليارات الجنيهات؟ طيب هل احنا كنا مخططين نعمل ري بالتنقيط؟ طب ليه عملنا المحطات؟ وهل لما عملنا المحطات كنا دارسين فين الأماكن اللي هعمل فيها ري بالتنقيط وفين الأماكن اللي مش هعمل فيها ري بالتنقيط؟ كل ده لازم نفكر فيه، ولازم قبل ما نتكلم عن مشروع قومي ونجري ننفذه لازم نكون دارسينه كويس جدا ومتعمقين فيه كويس. هل معنى ده ان انا مش هعمل ري بتنقيط خالص في مصر؟ الكلام ده مش حقيقي، بس لازم ابقى عندي سيميوليشن وعارف لما هعمل ري حديث في الدقهلية تأثيره على أنهي محطة بأنهي كميات وبأنهي نوعية. لازم أبقى عارف الكلام ده كويس جدا وحطه على الخريطة، وده اللي احنا بنعمله. احنا بنعمل مابينج، هنعمل فين ري بالتنقيط وهنعمل فين ري بالرش وهنعمل فين ري المحوري، وتأثيره على الصرف الزراعي ايه، وتأثيره على المية اللي راحة للمعالجة ايه، وتأثيره على مستقبلنا في إعادة الاستخدام ايه. احنا لسه رايحين لإعادة استخدام أكتر وأكتر في المرحلة اللي جاية. قد يكون بطريقة ديسنترلايزد، قد يكون بطريقة سنترلايزد زي اللي اتعملت قبل كده. يعني خلي بالك السنترلايزيشن معناها انفراستراكشر مهولة جدا لنقل المية للمحطة وأخذ المية من المحطة وتوزيعها تاني. فكل دي أبعاد ما ينفعش الوزير يقول أنا عايز كده. لا، هي قصة تمشي، مركز يدرس أو جهات بحثية، احنا بنتعاون مع جامعات مصر كلها، أو يدرسوا ويقولوا لنا لا ده ينفع وده ما ينفعش، ونرجع لهم تاني ونرجع لهم تالت. القصب، طبيعة الأرض والقصب. لما جينا نتكلم في القصب، طيب القصب يا جماعة في إمكانية إنه يترس زرع بالتنقيط ويدي إنتاجية عالية وأوفر كميات مية. أنا عطلت المشروع ده 2.5 سنين لغاية ما نكمل الدراسة في بلوخر بايلوت للقصب، مسقة كاملة بنحاول نتحول فيها، بنقيس الصرف وبنقيس الري وبنقيس الإنتاجية وبنقيس التكلفة وبنقيس كل حاجة. يعني النتائج اللي جات لي بتقول إن أنت لو عملت ري بالتنقيط للقصب هتوفر 2%. أنت متخيل؟ والميزة إن عندي وزير زراعة الحقيقة بيتكلم عن المية أكتر من وزير ري. فلما قعدنا مع بعض لقينا إن الدراسة قالت هتوفر 2%. ليه؟ لأنك بعد الري المية دي بتنزل وبترجع تاني نهر النيل، بيرجع منها قد إيه وبيتبخر منها قد إيه، هو ده اللي الدراسة قالت لي عليه. طيب لما يرجع منه 2%، هل أصرف 160 و150 ألف جنيه ري بالتنقيط عشان هوفر 2%؟ ممكن تقول لي المعادلة لسه ما خلصتش. الإنتاجية هتبقى إيه بالري بالتنقيط؟ ما هي لو الإنتاجية هتتضاعف، لو إنتاجية الفدان هتتضاعف، يبقى معنى كده إن المتر المكعب بقى بيأدي وظيفة 2 متر مكعب، فأنا وفرت 50%. فالحسبة لازم تتاخد اقتصاديا، اجتماعيا، هل الفلاح هيتقبل؟ هيعرفوا يصينوا شبكة الري؟ اقتصاديا، اجتماعيا، وبيئيا، تأثير ده على ملوحة التربة في الوادي والدلتا إيه؟ احنا بنعلم الطلبة sustainability has 3 pillars: بيئة، اقتصاد، اجتماع. لما نيجي بقى نشتغل تنفيذيين ما ننساش اللي احنا كنا بنعلمه للطلبة. وانا هقول لحضرتك بصراحة هو ده الطريقة اللي بنشتغل بيها، ومفيش طريقة تانية، وما اعتقدش المفروض ان الوزارة ما بعد كده تشتغل بطريقة تانية. ولما قعدنا مع معالي وزير الزراعة ومعالي وزير التموين واتكلمنا في الموضوع بشكل فني علمي، هو كان بيقول أكتر مني. لا، الري بالتنقيط مش هيوفر، الري بالتنقيط كذا كذا كذا، المصاطب ممكن توفر. واتفقنا ان احنا نعمل 20,000 فدان ري على مصاطب في الأول ولما تنجح، لأن احنا عندنا 350,000 فدان. سياسيا لو أنا بفكر سياسيا، الصبح مشروع القومي للتحول للري الحديث في القصب، وبعدين يعني قعدت 6 شهور زيادة على الكرسي، وبعدين أنا البلد استفادت مني إيه؟ فلازم الأمور تدرس بشكل علمي ونهدى شوية كده، وما نتسرعش في إطلاق مشروعات قومية غير مدروسة لغاية لما المشروع يبقى مكتمل، ولما أي حد يقوم يقول لي فيه انتقاد نسمعه ونكتبه ونرجع تاني ندرس، لأن احنا بنتكلم على مليارات هتنفق. يعني أنا إزاي إن أنا أروح أعمل مشروع تري بالتنقيط والمزارع يجي يشيل الخراطيم بعد شهر؟ ده مش فشل المزارع، ده فشلي أنا. والحقيقة أنا سعيد جدا. ولما جينا نتكلم على الممشى، وإن الممشى لازم يبقى خارج النهر، وإن المعهد النيل عمل لنا دراسة وقال إن في نهر وفي ترسيب، لما جه معالي وزير محافظ القليوبية يقول أنا عايز أعمل ممشى، قلنا له نهر النيل هو قدس الأقداس. ويمكن اللي عارفيني وبيشتغلوا معايا هم عارفين ان انا بعيد الجمله دي طول الوقت. نهر النيل هو قدس الاقداس، مفيش طوبه ولا حجر ولا رملايه ولا زلطايه تتحط داخل نهر النيل، مش عشان الوزير دماغه كده، عشان البحث العلمي بيقول لي كده، علشان العلم بيقول لي كده. لما قلت له كده نص ساعه الاجتماع قال لي تمام ماشي نعمل ايه؟ اتفقنا مع بعض. هو عايز يعمل ممشى شكله كويس، ما احنا بنشوف اوروبا كلها ماشي. هو لازم الممشى يبقى لازم جوه النيل؟ مش لازم الممشى يبقى جوه النيل. ما الناس بتعمل ممشى ومدرجات وبتقعد وبتحط شاشه وبتتفرج على الماتشات على ضفاف نهر الراين وحاجه زي الفل، يعني بيستمتعوا بالنهر اكتر مننا. احنا مش ضد ان الناس تستمتع بالنهر، ولكن تستمتع بالنهر باسلوب علمي. انا طبعا طولت، ولكن الخلاصه ان مفيش حاجه طب الخطه البحثيه بتتعمل ازاي؟ ولا ليا اي دخل فيها. قطاعات الوزاره تقعد مع المعاهد زي ما الدكتوره شادن شرحت، ان كل معهد فيه قطاع مناظر ليه في الوزاره، يقعدوا مع بعض، ده يقول له مشاكلي وده يحولها لنقطه بحثيه، ونقعد تاني ويتخانقوا. جميل جدا، نقعد تاني نطبطب عليهم ونصالحهم ونقعد ويرجعوا تاني يتكلموا لغايه ما يطلعوا بخطه بحثيه للعام القادم. وده اللي حصل مع من سبق الدكتور شريف، وده اللي حصل مع زميلي وصديقي العزيز دكتور شريف، وده اللي طلعت منه الخطه البحثيه للمركز تلبي احتياجات الدولة المصرية من البحث العلمي في المياه، احتياجات حقيقية يتم حل المشاكل بتاعتها من الابلايد ريسيرش اللي المركز بيطلعه. أنا طبعا طولت، وأشكر معالي وزير الزراعة إن هو استحملنا النهاردة، يعني سمعناه كتير قوي عن المية وهو عنده اجتماعات وكل شوية يأجل اجتماع، ومعالي الوزير المحافظ نفس القصة. وأنا أتمنى بقى لو في يعني دورة تانية هم اللي يتكلموا، بلاش أنا، كفاية كده النهاردة. شكرا جزيلا.
والله أنا يعني أتمنى الحديث يطول جدا، ولكن يعني أنا الدكتور شريف بيبص لي باستمرار عشان الوقت. حاضر. دلوقتي أولا قبل ما نسترسل أنا أحب أرحب بمعالي الوزير المحافظ الأستاذ أيمن عطية محافظ القليوبية، يعني في تشريفه لنا في الاجتماع، وإن شاء الله برضو في سؤال لحضرتك جاهز. بس الأول هننتقل لمعالي وزير الزراعة. يعني معالي وزير الري النهارده لمس نقطتين مهمين جدا يا فندم، سواء في البرزنتيشن بتاعته اللي عملها، وهي موضوع التنسيق والارتباط بين وزارة المياه والري لمصلحة قبل شيء الفلاح والإنتاج والزراعة، وليس هناك حدود فاصلة، ولكن في ترابط وتنسيق لا غنى عنه، وإلا المنظومة هتختل. معالي الوزير هاني سويلم قال نقطة تانية هامة، هي أهمية الدراسة الشاملة السابقة للمشروعات وخصوصاً المشروعات القومية. وده في الحقيقة يعني نقطة أنا أحيي معاليك عليها جداً. إحنا في أمس الحاجة ليها، ونتريث ونشوف حتى لا تكون هناك آثار جانبية تكلفنا أكثر من تكليف المشروع نفسه. النقطة الثانية حضرتك أشرتها، ودي يمكن معالي الوزير الزراعة يسني عليها، اللي هي موضوع زيادة الإنتاجية الزراعية. زيادة الإنتاجية الزراعية كوسيلة لتعظيم الإنتاج بنفس كمية المية. مش هحتاج ميه تانية، وقد اصل يعني احنا عندنا مشروعات رائده في وزاره الزراعه، في وزاره الري مشروع الصرف المغطى القومي كان هدفهم زياده الانتاجيه لهذا الغرض. من هذا المنطلق احب اوجه لحضرتك يعني سؤال بيقول في ضوء اهميه المزارع المصري كعنصر حاسم في تنفيذ منظومه الاداره الرشيده للمياه، كيف يمكن ضمان تبني التقنيات البحثيه الحديثه اللي اتكلم عليها معالي وزير الري مثل منظومة الجيل الثاني للري والتقنيات الموفرة للمياه على نطاق واسع في الحقول المصرية، وما هي الآليات التحفيزية السريعة والفعالة التي يمكن أن تحول نتائج الأبحاث من المعمل إلى أرض الواقع الزراعي؟ آسف لطول السؤال، لكن هو سؤال مركب شوية، لكن حضرتك قادر جدا على أنك تطرح لنا رؤيتك فيه.
هو في الحقيقة الأول أنا أحب طبعا أهني تهنئة وتقدير للسادة القائمين على المركز القومي لبحوث المياه بمناسبة اليوبيل الذهبي لتأسيسه 50 عام من العطاء والبحث العلمي، وده طبعا أسهم بدور محوري في دعم منظومة إدارة الموارد المائية وتعزيز التكامل بين البحث العلمي والزراعة والري. الحقيقة أن أكتر حد متعب فعلا في موضوع المياه هي وزارة الزراعة، ولازم نكون معترفين بكده. المستهلك الأساسي للمياه في مصر هو المزارع الصغير وصغار المزارعين، ويمكن احنا لسه كنا بنتكلم أنا ومعالي الوزير دلوقتي تحت، هو عنده أنشأ حاجة مهمة جدا هي روابط المياه. فبقول له احنا ليه ما نفكرش ان احنا ندمج روابط المياه في التعاونيات مع بعض ويبقى كيان قوي، الكيان ده قادر على إدارة المياه وفي نفس الوقت استخدام التقنيات الحديثة في الزراعة. الحقيقة ان احنا من خلال البحث العلمي والشراكة مع مركز البحوث الزراعية وبعض المراكز على رأسها مركز سيام، احنا متبنيين سياسات في التوسع الرأسي، وده شيء مهم جدا. طبعا التوسع الأفقي الدولة قايمة بيه، ويمكن في مشروعات عملاقة بفضل رؤية فخامة الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي في الدلتا الجديدة وتوشكا والعوينات. والحقيقة ان دور البحث العلمي مهم جدا في زيادة الإنتاجية والادابتيشن أو التعامل مع التغيرات المناخية وزيادة الإنتاجية. يمكن هدف مهم جدا لينا هو استخدام وحدة الأرض والمية. يمكن كان معالي الوزير الري كان له تعقيب قبل كده، وبعض الميديا خدت التعقيب دوت، يعني ان هو ازاي ما نزرعش قمح. لا، هو الوزير على فكره ما قالش كده، هو قال نعظم دور الارض والميه، وانا بتفق مع معالي الوزير. لازم استغل الارض بتاعتي في انتاجيات محاصيل ذات انتاجيه مرتفعه، استغل الارض بتاعتي في محاصيل ذات قيمه عاليه ممكن اصدر منها، واللي انا بصدره دوت ممكن استغله بعد كده في ان انا استورد محاصيل انا محتاجها وبتكون اسعارها بره في الدول المطيره، مثلا على سبيل المثال زي روسيا واوكرانيا والعديد من الدول بتكون قيمتها الماليه اقل بكتير. وده واقع في القمح النهارده. احنا الحمد لله عندنا بنيه تحتيه قويه جدا في الزراعه النهارده، عندنا اكثر من 10 مليون فدان. مش شرط ان انا احقق الاكتفاء الذاتي الكامل من القمح، بس المهم ان انا احقق الاكتفاء الذاتي من رغيف العيش المدعم، وده لازم اشتغل عليه على محورين: محور التغير المستمر في سلالات البذور والتقاوي اللي انا بستخدمها تديني انتاجيه عاليه، توفر الميه، تاخد مده انبات اقل من المده اللي كانت قبل كده، اللي كانت تصل في بعض الايام والاحيان ل5 أشهر. نفس القصه في الرز، احنا النهارده من احسن الدول او من اوائل الدول اللي هي انتاجيتها النهارده عاليه جدا. ابتدينا برضو نشتغل على الارز الجاف، ودي ما بتعجبش معالي وزير الري على فكره الكلمه دي، انا بقول برضه عشان احنا دايما في لقاءات بينا يعني. هو الحقيقه ان ما هو مش جاف قوي يعني الحقيقه ان هو المده او العمر بتاعه في الارض في الانبات بيبقى اقصر، الانتاجيه بتاعته بتبقى عاليه. طيب نرجع نفتح موضوع شتلات القصب اللي احنا اتكلمنا فيه. يمكن اتفقت من اول يوم انا ومعالي الوزير ان احنا لو بصينا على تقنيات أسرع وأكتر، وتقنيات هيقدر يتعايش معاها المزارع المصري، وبالذات في صعيد مصر. لأن احنا عارفين هو المزارع لما بيزرع قصب، يعني القصب ده محصول بيقعد في الأرض 5 سنين، وللأسف إن هو المزارع ساعات بيسيبه 7 سنين، ودوت بيقلل الإنتاجية. مجرد إن هو بيرش الملح أو ما يطلق، هو بيرش الكيماوي بس هو بيسميه القمح، وبالتالي هو إيه اللي بيحصل؟ هي زرعة ما بتحتاجش أي مجهود، فما بلاقيش الطريقة المثلى إن أنا مش صح إن أنا أروح أقول إن أنا هعمل رأي حديث في حاجة زي كده، بل بالعكس إحنا يمكن جربنا مع بعض إن إحنا نشتغل على تسوية بالليزر والعمل على مصاطب، بنقدر نقلل كمية المياه المستهلكة، بنقدر من خلال الشتل أو العقل المنتقاة اللي احنا بنحطها في الأرض وبنغرسها في الأرض نطلع إنتاجية عالية. بتفق تماما مع وزير الري، لو احنا زودنا إنتاجية الأرض ديت مجرد 30%، يبقى احنا دخلنا على 325,000 فدان، أكتر من 105,000 فدان. أعتقد إن ده دور مهم جدا للمراكز والبحث العلمي، دور للإرشاد الزراعي والزراعة الذكية، دور برضو للأكسس تو فاينانس، أو بمعنى أصح مهم قوي إن احنا نوفر التمويل المناسب للمزارع بتاعنا وبطريقة مبسطة عشان يقدر يطور نفسه مع التقنيات الحديثة اللي بتحتاج صرف. برضو مهم جدا ان احنا نطبق بقى على الارض، يعني مراكز البحوث دايما بتطلع ابحاث تحطها في الدرج للاسف، ويمكن احنا مع اعاده هيكله وزاره الزراعه كان في قرارات وهي هامه جدا، هو تمكين الباحثين الشباب والعلماء الشباب والدكاتره الشباب. انا عندي ناس على اعلى مستوى من العلم والحرفيه، وبالتالي هو دورهم لازم ينزل للارض. أنا عندي 10,000 أو أكثر من 10,000 باحث ودكتور غير متفرغ موجودين النهارده. التوسع في الحقول الإرشادية أصبح أمر مهم جدا، ويمكن لأول مرة أنا بعلن إن إحنا هننفذ أكثر من 25,000 حقل إرشادي هيكون في موسم القمح ده إن شاء الله. التطوير والتوسع في الميكنة الزراعية مهم جدا عشان نقدر نستخدم البحث العلمي صح، ويمكن دوت برضو الحمد لله بقى عندنا أسطول كامل من الميكنة الزراعية. السنة اللي فاتت أو الموسم اللي فات اشتغلنا على 1.6 مليون فدان ميكنة زراعية، السنة دي هنشتغل على 2.5 مليون فدان. السنة الجاية هنقدر نغطي كل الأراضي اللي موجودة في الدلتا والصعيد بالميكنة. وأعتقد يمكن الدولة برضو المصرية استثمرت كتير قوي في محطات المحسمة وبحر البقر والحمام علشان إعادة تدوير المياه، لأن احنا فعليا بنواجه مشكلة بسبب أحداث سد النهضة. ويمكن الإدارة الحكيمة للفريق العمل في وزارة الري اللي أنا بشكرهم عليه فعلا، قدرنا إن احنا نتغلب على جزء من المشكلة ديت بالتقنيات، بالعلم، بالمتابعة، بالمراقبة. ويمكن أنا بشكر معالي وزير الري على التعاون دوت، ولو انه هو برضو مش عايز يفتح لي شويه ميه يعني عشان الفلاحين تزرع. في الحقيقه النجاح الدوله دوت هو نجاح الوزاره. الامن الغذائي بقى حاجه مهمه جدا، والامن الغذائي ما بيتحققش غير بمجموعه عوامل، هي البحث العلمي، السستينابيليتي او بمعنى اصح يكون عندنا استمراريه، يكون في ربحيه، يكون في تعاون ما بين الوزارات. ويمكن خير دليل على كده هو تعاون وزير الري مع وزير الزراعة مع جهاز مستقبل مصر مع وزير التموين لتحقيق الأمن الغذائي اللي موجود في مصر. شكرا.
خالص الشكر معالي الوزير. في الحقيقة حضرتك أثرت نقط هامة جدا، منها تكامل عامل عمل رابط المياه مع التعاونيات، وده يعني حلم احنا بنتكلم فيه من زمان قوي. واشكر معاليكم انكم تهتموا بهذه النقطه وتنتقل الى التطبيق والتنسيق. تعظيم قيمه وحده المياه والارض دي برضو نقطه عظيمه، الجميع كل شعب مصر بيتطلع عليها، ودي فرصه هي للتوسع الرأسي. حضراتكم تطوير السلالات مهمه، وده يعني تاريخ مجيد لوزاره المركز البحوث الزراعيه في تطوير السلالات الجديدة، ومنها المقاومة للملوحة والمفر للمية. تمكين الباحثين الشباب، ودي يعني رسالة عظيمة جدا، وإن تطبيق نتائج البحوث على الأرض، نقط هامة حضرتك أثرتها، نشكر حضرتك عليها كتير.
عايز
اتفضل يا
ازود
فندم.
بس حاجه برضو في التوصيات، وهي خاصه ب هو احنا دايما لما بنتكلم عن الزراعه بنتكلم على الارض، بس في الثروه الحيوانيه، في الالبان، كل ده بيستهلك ميه، في الدواجن كل ده بيستهلك ميه. فهو دايما احنا برضو بنشتغل على ان احنا نحسن السلالات عشان نزود الانتاجيه، سواء في الالبان او في التسمين. اعتقد ان يمكن معالي الوزير عنده حسابات دقيقه كل كيلو لحمه بيستهلك كام ميه، ويمكن اتناقشنا فيها نفس القصه. يمكن هنلاقي الدواجن هي اقل كميه لاستهلاك الميه لتوفير البروتين. شكرا.
شكرا يا فندم على هذا التعليق. طيب احنا بس يعني لو سمحتوا لنا بقى يعني نروح للمسؤول على ارض الواقع اللي بيتلقى يعني رد الفعل من المنتفعين، من المزارعين، من الناس، في وجود معالي وزير الزراعه ووزير الري. حضرتك ايه الرساله اللي تحب توصلها لهم، اللي محتاجه اول حاجه لعنايتهم ويكون ليها مردود في البحوث تقوم بها حتى تحل هذه المشاكل؟
طبعا بنشكر حضراتكم على الدعوة الكريمة، وبنهني كل الزملاء في معهد بحوث المياه. ويمكن القليوبية بتشرف ان يعني يقع على أرضها المعهد، فده حاجة من الحاجات اللي بتشرف بيها محافظة القليوبية. إنما خلينا نقول برضو مدى ارتباط محافظة القليوبية بوزارة الري. القليوبية 11 مدينة وحي، منهم 8 يا إما على النيل، يا إما على الرياح التوفيقي، يا إما على ترعة الإسماعيلية، وهم أحد يعني الأجزاء الرئيسية من نهر النيل. ففي ارتباط وثيق بين المحافظة وبين وزارة الري جغرافيا. إنما كمان وبنشرف طبعا إن القناطر الخيرية هي رمز المحافظة والتاريخ القومي بتاعها، والسنة دي كنا بنحتفل ب 157 سنة على افتتاح قناطر محمد علي. فمصر قدم الهندسة في المنشآت الهيدروليكية، يعني الرمز الكبير بتاعها هي قناطر محمد علي. بل احنا كمان قبل قناطر محمد علي عندنا قناطر ابو المنجة، ودي يمكن اتبنت في عهد بيبرس للإخوة الأجانب اللي ما يعرفوش. فمصر يعني قديمة، وفي محافظة القليوبية في نطاق التعامل مع وزارة الري أو الكيانات المائية. إنما خلينا نتكلم عن النهاردة على أرض الواقع. احنا يمكن ما بيمرش أسبوع إلا لما يكون في اتصال أو 2 مع معالي الوزير ومع كل قيادات وزارة الري لطرح المشاكل، وبصراحة بنلاقي الحلول فورية، حلول مبنية على الأسس هندسية. ويمكن يعني كل الرؤى واللي كان بيطرحها معالي الوزير من أول يوم اشتغلنا في الملف في التعامل مع أي حاجة على أراضي طرح النيل أو أي حاجة بجوار النيل، بانت قوي في الأسبوعين 3 اللي فاتوا إن الرؤية دي كانت رؤية سليمة ومنضبطة، وكانت الحمد لله يعني ليها تأثير إيجابي على تقليل الأضرار اللي كان ممكن تكون أكبر من كده. إنما احنا برضو كمحافظة القليوبية يمكن من ال10 بايلرز اللي معالي الوزير اتكلم عليهم، القليوبية ليها نصيب من كل بايلر من دول. يعني لما بنتكلم على المنشآت القديمة أو اللي محتاجة تطوير أو رفع كفاءة على مجاري المائية الرئيسية، النهارده في واحد من أكبر المشروعات اللي معالي الوزير طرحها في المشروع القومي بال10 مليار جنيه مصري، واحد من أكبرهم هو قناطر بحر مويس. ودي من أهم المنشآت المائية اللي موجودة في المنشآت المائية من 65,000 منشأ، والحمد لله يعني تم العمل فيها بصورة جيدة جدا. وده لو حضرتك تكلمني بقى على أرض الواقع لاقي استحسان كبير عند أهالي المنطقة هناك، لأنه بيبقى مطمن إن المنشأ المائي اللي هو بيعتمد عليه مش هيأثر على أرضه ومش هيأثر على بيته. فده يعني ده استجابة كبيرة. برضو في عدد من الكباري اللي بتقع على مجاري مائية كبيرة، واخرهم كان كوبري في شبين القناطر، وبرضو معالي الوزير لم يتوانى لحظة طالما الموضوع ده يعني يقع في اهتمامات وزارة الري من ميزانية وزارة الري مباشرة. تم مش بقى رفع كفاءة، سيادته بالأبحاث قال لا، طالما إنشائيا مش هنرفع كفاءته احنا هنبنيه تاني. وحاليا بيبنى تاني ومن ميزانية وزارة الري، رغم ان ممكن يعني كان يتقال يعني ده مش مؤثر علينا كمجاري مائية، انما مؤثر على المواطن في الشارع. يعني المواطن علشان الكوبري ده كان مغلق كان بيضطر يمشي مسافات طويلة وبتحصل اختناقات مرورية. فطبعا يعني ده الدعم المباشر اللي بنلقاه من معالي الوزير على الأرض في بايلر من البايلرز المهمة اللي هي المنشآت أو رفع كفاءة المنشآت اللي موجودة. إنما برضو لما بنتكلم على التعامل مع الأراضي اللي على طرح النيل، احنا كإدارة محلية ملتزمين التزام كامل بتنفيذ كل تعليمات وزارة الري فيما يتم التعامل عليه على الأراضي والمجاري المائية. آخرهم يوم السبت اللي هو السبت ده هو كان في حملة إزالة كبيرة بيقودها المحافظة مع مديرية الأمن مع مديرية الري مع حماية النيل في كفر شكر لإزالة تعديات تاريخية كانت على أراضي طرح النيل. واحنا يعني عملنا قبل كده الإزالات دي. الممشى اللي معالي الوزير اتكلم عليه كان طالع بقرارات إزالة المنشآت كتير كانت متعدية عليه لسنوات طويلة وصلت ل30 سنة، واحنا كان الحكومة بإرادة قوية أصرت على تنفيذ بقى القرارات دي، ومعالي الوزير دعمنا، ورغم ان كان على سيادته ضغوط وعلى المحافظة ضغوط، انما الصح مفيش حيادة عنه، والحمد لله تمت عمليات الإزالة دي. وكمان رفع الكفاءة للمناطق دي زي ما معالي الوزير بيتكلم في المشروع الكبير اللي متبنيه فخامة الرئيس ممشى أهل مصر عشان النيل يرجع تاني لأهل مصر. أنا هلخصه في كلمة واحدة قالته لي واحدة ست يعني من أهلنا في بنها، ست طيبة. أنا يعني كنت مرة ماشي في الشارع فلقيتها جاية تسلم عليا، أنا قلت طالبة حاجة، قالت لي أنا جاية أقول لك ربنا يكرمكم أنتوا رجعتوا لنا تاني نشوف البحر. فدي يعني تحسب في ميزان حسنات معالي الوزير وكل القائمين على وزارة الري، إن فعلا المواطن المصري يرجع يرتبط بالنيل تاني. لما بنيجي نعمل له حاجة كويسة كممشى زي ما معالي الوزير قال، احنا مش مضطرين ان احنا نتعدى على النيل ولا نخش جواه. الموضوع بحسابات ممكن ياخد وقت، وانا بقول معانا في بنها ما خدش وقت في الحسابات، بل بقى التدعيم لجسر النيل رغم ان هو كان المفروض يبقى من ميزانية المشروع، معالي الوزير قال لا انا هعملها علشان الناس في القليوبية تستنفع كويس بالموضوع ونعجل بالمشروع. سيادته دعمنا ودعمت من ميزانية وزارة الري عمل التكريك علشان خلاص يبقى بعد كده نظبط المجرى بتاع النيل، تم تنفيذها طبقا للأسس اللي قالها معهد بحوث النيل. فعايز أقول إن التعاون تعاون قوي، تعاون مستمر. في الآخر إحنا هدفنا نحافظ على النيل بتاعنا، لأن زي ما معالي الوزير قال هو قدس الأقداس. فدورنا إحنا بقى على الإدارة المحلية إن إحنا ندعم بكل مجهوداتنا للحفاظ على قدس الأقداس، وكمان نفيد بيه المواطن اللي ماشي في الشارع يقدر يرتبط بيه تاني وينتفع بجمال المناظر اللي موجودة، ويبقى فيه متنفسات لكل أهلنا يكونوا موجودين هناك. فطبعا يعني التناغم والتكامل بين وزارة الري وبين الأجهزة المحلية، أو خلينا أتكلم على يعني أنا متأكد من خلال برضو اجتماعاتي مع كل الزملاء المحافظين نفس التعاون ده موجود ما بين معالي الوزير وكل السادة المحافظين على هذا الأساس. فدي طبعا حاجة أكيد يعني مهمة جدا ومسمنة حتى من المواطن اللي على الأرض. يعني أنا بس في نقطة برضو خارج السؤال يعني بعد إذن معالي الوزير، أنا مش هتكلم بقى كمحافظ، أنا هتكلم كمهندس، وكنت مسؤول وبشرف في وقت من الأوقات عن إنشاء سد جوليوس نيريري في تنزانيا. وأنا بستغل الفرصة وفي يعني بعض إخواتنا وأصدقائنا وأشقائنا الأفارقة موجودين، وبنقول قد إيه مصر كان لها دور كبير ولا زالت لها أدوار كتير منتظرة في تطوير ودعم الشعوب الأفريقية، أشقائنا في الشعوب الأفريقية. احنا مش ضد إنشاء سدود، احنا أنشأنا سدود وحققنا حلم في سد جوليوس نيريري في أشقائنا في تنزانيا، كان حلم تجاوز 60 سنة عشان ينفذوه. وزارة الري ما كانتش بعيدة عن هذا المشروع، معالي الوزير جزرنا وأشرف بنفسه على أعمال كتير معانا، وكان بيتابع معايا أنا شخصيا الملف ده وبكل ما تم تنفيذه، بل على يعني أكتر من كده وزارة الري دعمتنا بواحد من أبنائها وخبرائها العالميين والدوليين، كان موجود معانا على الأرض هناك في السد خطوة بخطوة، كان ليه دوره معانا في دعمنا، كان ليه دوره معانا في تبسيط الرؤية كمان للمهندسين التنزانيين ايه اللي احنا المفروض نعمله بطريقة علمية مظبوطة. أكسبنا أكسبنا احنا ثقة في نفسينا، وأكسب كمان أشقائنا هناك في تنزانيا الثقة في إمكانيات المصريين في تنفيذ السد. وأنا لما بقول ادتنا وزارة الري ما بخلتش علينا بخبير عالمي في السدود، لأن فعلا أنا بنفسي كان ليا شرف أكون متواجد في الآي كولد السنة اللي قبل اللي فاتت، هقول وهنسقف له كلنا بإذن حضراتكم يعني. والتحية مش هتبقى ليه هو شخصيا، تحية لكل منتسبي ومهندسي وزارة الري. الراجل ده بس يا فندم، أنا حضرت الموقف ده ولا زلت كل ما بفتكره جسمي بيقشعر. في الآي كولد السنة اللي قبل اللي فاتت، الدورة مش دي اللي فاتت، في جوتنبرج في السويد، كرم من الآي كولد الانترناشونال كونجرس اون لارج دامز كواحد من أعظم 3 خبراء عالميين في صناعة السدود. يعني أحب أحييه، وأنا فرحت إن هو موجود دكتور أشرف الأشعل، فأحب نحيي سيادته يعني، وهو رمز لكل خبرائنا فعلا في وزارة الري. وبتقول قد إيه المهندس بتاع وزارة الري والدكتور والخبير مش بس بيخدم مصر، بيخدم كل أشقائنا في الدول الأفريقية وفي الدول العربية. وإن شاء الله دايما مصر يعني منفتحة على التعاون مع كل أشقائنا بإذن الله. بنشكر حضراتكم وآسف على الإطالة.
ألف شكر معالي السيد وزير المحافظ. ويعني ده بيؤكد في الحقيقة، أنا يعني بالرغم من معالي الوزير كان بيقول فيه راوند تاني، لكن الوقت داهمنا، وأنا عارف إن حضراتكم يعني مرتبطين بمواعيد هامة، فلكن كلام معالي المحافظ يأكد الكلمة اللي عايز أقولها في الختام، إن الكلام اللي معالي قال بيؤكد إن علماء وخبراء المركز القومي لبحوث المياه عليهم دور كشريك استراتيجي في تحقيق المرونة لأجيال المستقبل، متحالفاً مع كل المراكز البحثية الوطنية المعنية بالمياه في مصر، في ظل تعاون حكومي عابر للوزارات، ومنفتحاً على آفاق العلم الحديث في أنحاء العالم، ومستبشراً بحكمة القيادة السياسية ورؤيتها في أن أمن مصر المائي غير قابل للمزايدة أو الغفلة، وأن تعاملنا مع المياه لابد أن تقوده الحكمة وعزمنا الثابت وعملنا الدؤوب للتغلب على تحديات الندرة والتكيف مع تغير المناخ والمحافظة على بيئة مائية سليمة وتنمية مستدامة. معالي الوزراء، أشكركم كل الشكر على مداخلتكم وعلى إثراءنا بهذه الرؤى والعلم والخبرة، وأشكر كل الحضور. شكراً لحضراتكم.